All right, hi everyone. So it's been about just a little over a year since I had my Syil X7. You can kind of see it behind the tools. And this is just my 1 year, I guess, review, follow-up of how this machine performed. Just cutting to the chase, do I like this and would I recommend this to someone? The answer is yes. I'm very happy with this machine. I'm very happy for the value it's given me. And it's reliable, works like a champ. Any problems that I've had are really like cosmetic or kind of nitty gritty, and as far as mechanically or software or electrically, the bigger problems is that they've all been my fault. And so anyways, hopefully this will be a pretty quick video about my experience and I guess my thoughts of the machine after 1 year. So I've made all sorts of parts within the past year. Multiple Kickstarters have been my bread and butter. They're kind of nice ways to basically make a new part and teach myself how to make it nicely and pay myself while doing it. Doesn't pay well, but it's kind of low risk, low reward. So this machine, it runs production no problem. This is the 10,000 RPM BT30 spindle, 16 position side mount tool changer. I do have the TTC 200 tool setter, but honestly I haven't really figured out a nice way to use it with this machine, so I've just kind of packed it away for now. This is the LNC 6800. I think this is kind of one of their standard options now. This controller's alright. I don't really have any big complaints about it. If you're not gonna do anything complicated, you're just gonna generate your code within your CAM software and upload it, and you're not going to dick around with anything fancy. You're not going to go inside the settings and change anything. It's fine. It's pretty rock solid. There's no conversation though, so that's one thing to consider. Yeah, it runs production no problem. Alright, what's next on the list? Spindle load limits. So I have the 3 horsepower version. I think they have the 4 horsepower version, and that is the largest spindle load you can get with single phase. I didn't want to get a rotary phase converter. Now they have the 7 or 7.5 horsepower version. And wow, that looks interesting. I think that's standard with the Siemens and the 22MA. But to give you an idea of what 3 horsepower gets you, one of my last Kickstarters, this is a scrap piece. I was making these little pen holders, 2.5-inch cube aluminum, and I think at about 1200 RPM with this high-speed steel 3/4-inch end mill, I made a mistake with the work offset. So it was plunging in maybe about 1.5 inches, maybe half depth of cut. And so what happens is you get a ripple on the DC voltage bus, and the machine will alarm out and will stop. I made my own Talon grips, so that stayed in, which was nice because having these things fly all over the place is not fun. But anyways, yeah, it cut about halfway before it errored out. So that's kind of what you're looking at. Personally, it's not like a 10 or 15 horsepower machine where you're just gonna hog all day, but it's good enough for what I do in my small garage. Aftermarket modifications, yeah, there's a little bit of stuff that I did. For example, I have this, it's really ghetto, but I have this overhead light. They're like $8 at Home Depot, and I just said extra, so I just put one in so I can illuminate this area more. There's a filter regulator lubricator on that side that has failed me twice, and I think it might be because I digged around with it a little bit, opening it up and whatnot under pressure. So what happens is the polycarbonate bowls have cracked and they leak air, and I'm replacing it with cast aluminum ones from Automation Direct, so those are coming in soon. Down here in the chip basket, I have lined the outside because when this gets full of chips, which happens quite quickly for me, coolant can actually start to like dribble off the sides, and then it starts to get over the floor, and and that's not that fun anymore. I think they've changed their chip management in the new X720, so maybe that's not even relevant anymore. Sometimes because I run my flood coolant kind of like high pressure, I think coolant comes through that crack. I've yet to cover that crack up, but it does drip down from there. That's about all I can think of. Okay, so you might have noticed that this tool changer is open. And one reason I've opened it is to kind of explain, if you ever were to run into problems, there's kind of easy fixes. So for example, if you, like for example, punch in a tool number that maxes out the magazine, like, I don't know, T51 or something, and it searches and searches, it goes through 50 virtual magazine pockets, it's going to alarm out, it's going to say like, magazine motor overload and it's not counting anymore, whatnot. Anyways, if you get that it's not counting, this cam here will obviously shut down all power to the machine, shut down power to your tool changer. So I have mine plugged in, unplug it, and then you can actually move that cam, just turn that cam under that proximity sensor, maybe it's a hall sensor, I'm not too sure, and that's about it. Now granted, once you move that cam, this machine is not going to know which pocket it's actually on, which spindle tool number is assigned to which magazine. It's lost count. So you're probably going to have to remove all your tools and touch them all off again. Just a heads up so you don't crash your machine upon startup. But yeah, it's easy. I take that cover off, I shut off all power, I turn it, and it's fixed. So I guess building upon that too, this tool changer is probably the smallest side mount tool changer I've seen on a machine. There might be a little bit smaller ones that I may have seen, but this one I do vividly remember. And for $5,000, I think that this is incredible value. There's some other machine tool builders in the hobby market that make tool changers, and even like umbrella tool changers. I think they're all garbage. Chips get into them, they're kind of flimsy, maybe they air out or your spindle head crashes onto it. There's too many nightmares with that. So if you can fork up the cash, get this tool changer. I guess that's about it. I mean, this makes parts, no real complaints. You might have noticed that the paint is peeling. I thought that everything in here was powder coated, and maybe these sidewalls are, but I think I saw paint peeling off of somewhere. And that, I'm 99% sure, is because I put in Qualichem with too high concentration. This seems to be something I keep doing. Yeah, other than that, there's not too much additional information about this machine that I can add from my previous videos. Service-wise, I've been satisfied with service. I mean, this machine is pretty easy to service on its own with whatever manuals that they give you. If you just sit down and think about it for 5 minutes and use some common sense. There's some easy fixes. Like for example, if for some reason this arm is a little bit out of place, and you know, if you're in the USA, then Paul Frank will probably tell you to shut everything off, and then on the top of that servo there's a hex, and you're supposed to adjust that hex just a hair, like an eighth of a turn or even less, and then you get down, you power on your machine, and then you see if the area has cleared, and if it's not, then you repeat the process, just adjusting this arm, adjusting the angular position of the arm. And then Mr. Chen, who I think is a head engineer at Syil, I don't know how that guy does his job, because there's just more and more people buying these machines, and I guess he's still answering their questions. And I know Syil is trying to set up a technical support within certain countries like Australia, and the US and the UK, and I'm sure they can help with maybe like user errors with the controller or basic mechanical issues. But I mean, the man does it. He responds to you usually. I mean, responds to me usually within 24 hours. I think the last time I had to bug them for a technical question, I can't even remember. It was months ago, but I might have solved it on my own. I'm not too sure. Anyways, long story short, yeah. I mean, support is there. It's remote. That's fine for me. And I've been happy with it. So would I recommend this machine to like a friend of mine? Well, I've been on forums and there's people asking like, oh, you know, should I get like a Tormach, or should I get a Syil, or should I get like a used mill? And if you're very new, completely new to CNC, maybe, and you're not interested in production at all, you're just interested in like a little hobby machine, I think you should go with the Tormach, because there's a lot more documentation. If you crash that machine, it doesn't really care. It's pretty relatively inexpensive to replace. Like their Spindle is, I don't know, $100 or whatever it is. It's not thousands. Now if you want to do production and you want to actually make some money, which is what I'm trying to do, this is the machine to get. If you're in a unique position, I'm located in Hawaii, so there's no used machines that I can go and visit. I mean, if I was like in Arizona or in California and there's machine tool build or machine resellers all around, maybe you should go out and visit those. Like if you have some experience with CNC machines and you want to start a business to do production, if I had to do it again and if I lived on the mainland, on continental US, that's probably what I would do. I mean, this machine is great. I spent 34 grand, so I mean, I'm not getting any endorsements from anyone, but 34 grand for a new kind of small machine, that's a little expensive. I mean, I think I'm happy with the value it's giving me, but if you go out searching for a used machine like, I don't know, Herco or, you know, Kuma or, you know, whatever, like kind of a little bit, maybe Japanese machines in particular, if you buy something that's 15 years old, it'll probably be rock solid still. Maybe the spindle will need to be replaced, the ball screws maybe, but that's something that you need to check out. Other than that, those machines are built like tanks. This is a lightweight machine. But I didn't want to deal with having a machine delivered here and then, oh, a drive blows out, or oh, the spindle is not that great. It's got maybe 1,000 hours left. I didn't want to replace that. I just wanted something brand new so I could hit the ground running. And if you're going to do that, I think this is a very good buy. I think the next competitor, like the Tormach 1100 MX, is probably comparable, except for the tool changer. I think this is far superior. I think the price is about the same. If you're going for a Haas mini mill with the same specs, I think maybe, you don't quote me on this, but you're probably looking at 50 grand. One nice thing about this machine versus the Haas mini mill, aside from the side mount tool changer of course, is that your Z is about 15 inches. On the Haas mini mill, it starts at like 10 inches, and that just killed me because, you know, you're running a vise like this that chokes up 4 inches already. If you're running a pallet, that chokes up another 4 inches, and you're just not left with that much room, especially for like drills and whatnot. So anyways, Syil has greatly upgraded their X720. So if you outfit an X720 on their online quote, the exact same configuration that I have, it's going to be about 34 grand, but you get probably 4 horsepower, you get an epoxy granite casting, and I think it's a few 100 pounds heavier. I'm not too sure, but the more weight the better. Oh, their table is different. They don't have this, you know, this is one of the things I kind of hate. I just want the T-slots open so I can just push all the chips out. They put their X axis servo motor underneath, so like it's just a table out. It's like a Herco, or maybe even some of the Haas machines. There's just a table on top. I think they've also increased their Y travel. I'm not too sure, but on their new machine, they've also, because this motor is underneath, they've been able to shrink the width of their machine. So if you have a small space like I do, I mean, this is not a good way to start. I have to squeeze in the wall to refill the automatic oiler. I have to open up that wall if I want to enter the electrical cabinet, but I mean, it's possible. If you have a small space like I do, I mean, I think they've cut off 5 or 6 inches on the width, so that's really nice. And then their chip tray and coolant tank is a lot different too. I think it just pulls out like that, so it's a lot easier to access. I had to, well, obviously not in my case, but this one pulls out this way. It's okay. Oh, and they've also changed their metal weight covers. I'm not sure what to call it, but it's different than this. Just on the Z-axis, I think. And I think instead of this side-mounted lock line coolant line, I think they have a coolant ring now, so it all converges at the end of your cutting tool, which is nice because when you're milling stuff and you can't get coolant on this side, then sometimes you don't get as nice a finish. So they've improved that. I don't know if they've improved the lighting. It would really be nice to have one over here. They'll put one in if you ask them. I guess that's about it. Yeah, this is a really good value machine. If for like small garage, unattended production, everything, absolute encoders on everything. Oh, and then if you want like a real, like a DDR or a servo-based 4th axis or 5th axis, they can do that too. None of this stepper motor stuff where once you power down the machine, it forgets where it is. So that's about it. This is my 1 year. Very happy with this machine, very happy with the service. I'm still very happy with the people that work with Syil. They're very friendly, very helpful. They've delivered, I think, everything that they've promised, and as long as you're like not a dick or hard to work with, I think they'll give you the service that you need. Yeah, so that's about it. That's all I can think of. I would recommend this, and thanks for watching.